YouTube? What is up? Welcome back to Trails on the Spectrum. In this episode of the Off-Road Campground Podcast, we are going to be talking about USB versus Bluetooth. And which one is better for your side-by-side audio system, because this came shortly after this came shortly after I got a brand new cable from Anker, which is a data cable, and it plugs up directly into the audio system. And of course, I do like the length. It's a perfect length for the side-by-side. Just plug into the USB port, plug the other end on the phone, and it's good to go. I do like the length of this cord. It's like 3 foot long, where this one is 6 foot long. Yeah, it's pretty long. As you can see here, it's 6 foot long. So that's another 3 extra feet for a USB cord. And one's made by Anker, the other's made by Belkin. So it's really hard to tell. But I got this one because of the better data connection, and also with the length of the cord. But Bluetooth can also have some connectivity issues as well, and so can USB. But I think Bluetooth, it's convenient and everything, but it's not really my favorite source to use when I'm driving. At least with USB, I guess it's one thing, is that navigation is easier on USB than on Bluetooth. With Bluetooth, you pretty much have to control it with the phone itself. Like, go to the app here, look at your playlist. It's not safe for driving. I can go to any of my playlists. I could tap on something and press shuffle, which, when I'm driving, it's not safe at all for driving. Especially on in a side-by-side, when you're just on, rough trails and you need to control the music. USB gives you a lot more flexibility with the albums, the artists, and the tracks. But I guess playing music before the ride, even with that, the USB cable keeps your phone charged. It definitely keeps the phone charged when you're riding. And having this, in a side-by-side is much easier, since you do get that navigation on the screen itself. And both of them have something very similar to the data. So you get the artist name, the track name, the artist name. So with both connections, you don't have to worry about losing that that connectivity. Even though Bluetooth, it's a wireless connection, and it connects almost instantly if you just press the Bluetooth and just tap on Ride Command or whatever your system's Bluetooth name is. You tap on it or turn on, press, you have to go to the phone, press connect, and then you have to go to the phone itself, scroll through whenever you want to scroll through, and tap, the shuffle button or the play button. Even though you can control the, next, forward, back, play, pause, all through the radio. You just don't get a menu with your artists, your albums, and your songs, especially for somebody like me who collects physical CDs. With having my physical CDs in my Apple Music library, I get more flexibility with any of my favorite albums from my favorite artists. And one thing we cannot control are playlists and genres. That's where the phone will come in. Before you set off on the trail ride. I mean, it going to a specific album or an artist and clicking on an album is a lot easier when you're in a pinch. Like I go to one of my favorite artists and click on one of their albums and hit play all, and it'll play all the songs. So it really works out. And I mean, I do like having the USB cord since it does give me the better integration into the radio using just one cable, especially a very short cable that's 3 foot long, because we're talking about less than an inch, and 3 feet gives you plenty if your USB cord is like your USB connection's right there. I guess it depends on, because most of it's in a storage compartment somewhere, and you can plug it in and it goes right to your audio system. And I'm not sure how Can-Am or Kawasaki or any other brand mounts their USB port, their USB plug. I mean, they all have Bluetooth audio, but I think USB is a lot easier, especially with someone like me who has a 7-inch touchscreen and has artists, albums, songs, you name it, it's all there. I guess for USB, we'll keep it to charge my phone, but also listen to music. So I'll make sure my Bluetooth is turned off before I head on the road, and then I go to Bluetooth, or I can go to radio. I can go to my library. So let's say I'm riding with my cousin Briella. I can go to genre, or I can click on an album, or we'll click on playlist. We'll type in classic. Classic Disney CD. I'm gonna get rid of that. We're we're just gonna delete the playlist from the library. And we'll come here to my library, and there's all my albums or recently added albums. But yeah, I think it's a really cool little system to use USB compared to Bluetooth. And plus, with USB, you're getting a direct connection. Let's talk about sound quality. Sound quality, I think I would give it to USB because you got a faster data connection, which gives you better sound compared to Bluetooth, where it's so compressed because it's over a wireless connection. So even with Bluetooth, man, even with Bluetooth, you're getting a compressed signal because it has to communicate wirelessly, and it's not the best in the world. And that's where the USB cable comes in. You get the best possible quality. You pretty much get the ultimate best quality compared to just using Bluetooth. I still don't get why so many people who drive side by sides, yeah, I still don't know why so many people use Bluetooth instead of using their own USB connection. I mean, I kind of get why some people would use Bluetooth because of those who have a Bluetooth speaker that they would mount onto their roll cage, which I get. There's no USB connection, but for dedicated stereo systems, I would go with USB over Bluetooth. Even in the car, you can still use USB over Bluetooth because you get the best sound quality from your music. Because it definitely showcases what Apple Music can handle, and it can really show what Apple Music can do. Even with a basic sound system, you're getting lossless sound with a direct USB connection. I've never been more impressed with USB, especially when you're riding on the trail. When you're on the trail, you could be in a very tight spot, and USB really helps you navigate everything right there on your touchscreen. You even have to look down at your phone, which is unsafe for driving. And you can go to your albums or artists and select, a specific album from a specific artist. And I do like having that touchscreen, um, interaction compared to using just my phone. I mean, I get why most people use Bluetooth. That is convenient. Just connect directly to your phone, and there you go. But I mean, there's some times where Bluetooth can really come in handy, as if you want to be a backseat DJ or like a backseat person, a person who can controls the music right from the back seat. Then you can connect your phone to Bluetooth and control it. I mean, even with USB, it'll work with pretty much any application. Like it'll work with SiriusXM, it'll work with Spotify, it'll work with YouTube Music, it'll work with pretty much anything really for listening to music and all that stuff. It's pretty much like a digital aux cord where you plug into the yeah, you plug it directly into your USB port and then plug the other end to the USB C port on your phone. Especially if you have an iPhone. iPhones really take advantage of USB. I wonder if Android phones will work over the USB connection in a side by side. Will an Android phone work over USB? Yes, an Android phone will work over a USB cord for a side by side display. you can use your phone as a second monitor using devices USB-C and third-party software. Yeah, you pretty much have to use USB tethering and use it on an Android phone. So iPhones, they pretty much initiate the iPod protocol. That's why iPhones work so better with USB than Bluetooth, or has that option to use USB tethering and use your iPhone as an iPod. But Android phones, you're pretty much out of luck. I mean, to use it just like as it is, you're pretty much forced to use Bluetooth, which is a good thing I'm not an Android user because I would not have figured that out on how to use USB tethering. But I am so glad I got an iPhone because I'm so used to having an iPod from back in the day. So I can easily use these cables wherever I am, and so this cable, I can plug it straight into the USB port. So this one will probably go into Fusion, and you plug that into the phone, and then it uses the phone as an iPod, or as using an iPhone as an iPod, and it'll have better control over the music as if I was than if I was using Bluetooth. I've never really liked Bluetooth because I would hate to turn all the way up just to hear the music. It's that compressed. At least with USB, you pretty much get a direct signal, like a line signal, from the iPhone into the audio system. I mean, it's the same thing with an Android phone. Not always you're going to have, you know, so Android phones don't have the USB tethering like an iPhone does because the iPhone is bred as a more modern day iPod, like a one of those portable music players, where an Android phone has to be connected directly to Bluetooth. And the USB port is good for iPhone users because you can pretty much use your iPhone as an iPod and use a cloud-based server like Apple Music and store all your music in the cloud through a cloud music library and have all your files just like a more modern day iPod, which I do like. I think iPhones make listen to music safer because it works natively with the USB tethering because it uses it as a modern day iPod. Any iPhone, even today's iPhones, work really well with USB tethering, which is known as initiating the iPod protocol. It comes native, and that's what I like about the iPhone. Where I can easily plug my phone directly into the USB cable, and it reads it as a modern day iPod. And when I plugged it in to my side by side last time I was riding around, I was so impressed with the connection and all that stuff. It was it was fun. It was definitely quite an experience. I was when I got this Anchor cable, I could never I wouldn't believe how fast it actually started up. and it read everything. And I was back to using my iPhone as an iPod. So USB has the better signal in terms of having a direct connection to the radio using a cable. And also having the better sound the sound quality is better. And when I plug in to the Razer, it has the time lapse of how long I've been listening and how much or how long I have left on the bottom there, not just the skip back, skip forward, play, pause. Got the artist name, the track name, the song name, the artist name, the album name in the middle, and of course a little music note on the top, which looks really cool. It's like playing something from a thumb drive. That's another thing. You can use a USB thumb drive with USB as well. Like plug in your thumb drive directly into the USB port, and it reads the entire device. So that's one good thing to use with the USB is using it for a thumb drive or an old school MP3 player. But mainly USB thumb drives, and with iPhones and using it as iPods. So there's no need for me to keep thumb drives when there's no need to keep a thumb drive there's no need to keep a thumb drive when I got all my music on my phone. I mean, I guess I could use the thumb drive for my, downloads, my DJ downloads, because I am a mobile DJ and I get all this music from record pools, and I can use the thumb drive for that. I just put certain songs on there if I want to listen to a certain type of music. Plug that into the and then for my CD collection, I got my my iPhone. So USB really does have that versatility of playing all kinds of local files. Even plays it from my Apple Music library, my iCloud music library, and it loads up all the music and it's ready to go. And with something here. So with Bluetooth, you pretty much have to charge your phone anyway because it does suck up a lot of battery life. So here is the dedicated solution to keep your phone charged while you're on Bluetooth. So you pretty much have to use a USB-C cord. Yep, you pretty much have to use a cord like this, USB-C, USB-C. Oh. Plug it into the 12-volt power in your side-by-side, and then plug the other end to your phone. It's just one of those things, I mean, even my Apple cord here can be used to charge my phone in the side, in the side by side. Instead of using I forgot what brand this was that I got at Universal Orlando. we have my AT&T power plug it straight into the 12 volt, and then take the other end, plug it into my phone, and it charges it right away. But I guess one good thing about this is it keeps the phone charged, but also out of the heat because the compartment traps a lot of heat in the Razr. But yeah, I got your 12 volt USB C um, power port, and I guess this can also be used to charge in the back because my side by side has a 12 volt power port in the back of the Razr. So I can actually let my mom use this while I plug in my phone to the USB port. I can control everything right from the touchscreen and go to any album, any artist that I want to listen to, and we're good to go. I'll just plug my phone directly into the USB. So this is a way to go for some. I mean, USB. I guess a lot of. I don't know why most people use Bluetooth over USB. I'll have to ask ChatGPT that. Of why so many writers of side by sides use Bluetooth audio over something like USB. Why do many writers of side by sides? Oh, I forgot. Many writers of side by sides. Side by sides. Use Bluetooth audio over USB audio. Yeah, why do many writers of side by sides use Bluetooth audio over USB audio for music? The biggest reason is simple. Bluetooth is more convenient, not necessarily better. Here's why many side by side writers choose Bluetooth over USB. Everyone already everyone already uses their phone, which I already know. Writers can stream music from apps like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, or Pandora without copying files to a USB drive. Wireless convenience, no cable is required, so it's easy to hop in, connect automatically, and start writing. Passengers can take turns. Most Bluetooth receivers let someone disconnect and another person pair their phone without swapping a USB stick. We're not talking about USB sticks, we're talking about USB cable and using an iPhone like an iPod and have all your music ready to go. Voice control. Writers can often use voice assistants to change songs or play this without touching the stereo when it's safe to do so. And it says they don't hear a difference on an off road trail. Wind engine, tire, and exhaust noise often mask the small audio quality advantage that USB can provide. I don't really, I've never dealt with that. I've always felt that USB is better. That said, USB audio has some real advantages, especially for someone who values sound quality. Yeah, USB's audio advantages, it delivers a bit perfect digital signal when supported and avoids the compression so music can be clearer and more detailed. It works with lossless music like Apple lossless, FLAC, Wave, etc. It keeps the phone charged while playing, and it doesn't suffer from Bluetooth dropouts or pairing issues. For someone like me who enjoys higher quality audio and has talked about using physical media and local files, USB playback makes a lot of sense. If I rep CDs, USB lets the stereo reproduce the sound, that quality more faithfully than standard Bluetooth. Off-road reality on a trail in a vehicle, in my Polaris RZR at 10-20 miles per hour, I might notice USB sounds cleaner. At 40 to 60, with an engine revving, helmets, and wind knows the difference between USB and modern Bluetooth codecs become much harder to hear. Ooh. For many writers, prioritize convenience over the last bit of fidelity. In short, Bluetooth wins because it's quick, familiar, and works with streaming services. USB wins if the goal is the best possible sound quality, especially when playing downloaded or lossless music. If my stereo supports both USB, if my stereo supports both, using USB for serious listening and Bluetooth when passengers want to DJ is often the best of both worlds. That's what ChatGPT told me. With my actual Polaris helmet, I guess there is no. You know what? I think whenever we ride with helmets on, that is when I probably won't listen to music at all because I won't be able to hear it through the Polk audio system, the Rockford Fosgate audio system, and having the ride command just be our digital instrument cluster. That's when I have my helmet on and I won't be able to hear it because my ears are being covered and I won't be able to hear the music. That's the most difficult process, is riding with a helmet on while listening to music through the Rockford Fosgate audio system. I mean, it's going to sound all muffled and I won't be able to hear anything. I don't know how most people do it wearing those type of helmets while still having a very successful ride. Even though I've seen some riders ride with, bike helmets, and that makes it a lot easier to hear the music a lot better because my ears aren't being covered by the helmet. And that's where I can still get a use out of the Rockford Fosgate audio system by using a bike helmet. It kind of goes both ways. So I guess where helmets are mandatory, where it's a requirement, where everyone has to wear it, that's when I probably won't listen to music at all, because I won't be able to hear the music coming out of my audio system from the Polaris RZR and just enjoying the ride. and see how well, see how that does. Because it's, I barely wear my helmet because there's no need to at places like Carolina Adventure World or Riverneck. I mean, I'm the most, I'm definitely the one mostly driving most most of the time when I'm riding around. I'm driving. Yeah, I mostly drive my machine, my own machine. So in terms of Bluetooth versus USB, I mean, I guess I kind of will use both. Like if I'm sitting in the back seat of my Razor, I'll use Bluetooth audio to control my music. Where if I'm driving, that's when I'll use USB audio. Or if I'm sitting in the front passenger seat, that's when I'll use the audio system and control my music right from the touchscreen. So I'll probably use a mixture of both. Even if I'm sitting in the front passenger seat, I can control my music right from the phone. I guess I'll only use USB audio when I'm driving. Makes it a lot easier myself to control my phone and use USB audio at the same time. Now, I guess not at the same time, but you know what I mean. Driving and controlling my music right there at the same time using the ride command. It makes it a lot, it makes it a lot easier to navigate through music using the touchscreen. I can be there in like a minute or so, but like that, and it starts playing the music right from my own music library. To play a full blown album, like a full album, we have to go to albums, ugh, albums that are made by individual artists instead of a compilation. So I feel like compilations are kind of spread out between these different artists. But we still get that convenience of the sound quality and just having everything on one screen. So if you're someone like me who loves and enjoys high quality audio, then yeah, USB is perfect. But if you want convenience and ease of, for convenience, then yeah, Bluetooth is the way to go. Especially if you're an iPhone user, that's when you can use both. But Android, yeah, you're only stuck with just Bluetooth. Especially if you have actually, access to both. That is where, like, if you have if you have access to both, let's say you have an iPhone, that is where you can plug in a USB cord and it access your music like an old school iPod, where all the music is loaded. Right, it loads up your direct Apple Music library like an old school iPod would, or an old school iPhone that had that old iPod feature You can plug it in, go to USB/iPod, and it reads it as an iPod rather than a USB or regular USB device. Then that's where USB will come in, or where Bluetooth will come in. It's if you have an Android phone, you want to listen to music off of Spotify or other streaming services, then yeah. See, I prefer USB over Bluetooth, especially when riding the trails and riding around my yard, all that stuff. I like to have more convenience over, more control on the main touchscreen because it's safer for driving. It's right there at arm's length. I can scroll through whenever I want to scroll through, and I can control the music directly from the touchscreen, and don't have to worry about touching my phone. Like I'm not looking down at my phone. I'm looking at the touchscreen, and it's all alphabetized. If I know what the album or artist starts with, I could tap on that letter and scroll, up or down to the dedicated artist I listen to, and it's easy. It is super easy, especially when it's connected to USB. Let's say I want to listen to the Bee Gees. I'll go to the B and then go all the way down to BE, and go to BEE, and that is where the Bee Gees will be. And I click on their greatest album, hit play all, and it plays all of the songs in that album. It really makes it intuitive. It's an intuitive feel. It feels more integrated into the radio itself rather than being separate from, the ride command. See, using the USB, it's more of a safety thing than using Bluetooth, because Bluetooth is kind of like using an aux cord, like an old school aux cord, where you would hook it directly into the radio, and you pretty much have to control it right from the phone, which is inconvenient for driving because it's not safe. And that's why I like about that's one thing I love about USB, and that's why I put all of my CDs in my Apple Music library so I can listen to all my favorite music without having to take my hands off the wheel or eyes off the road, and just glance at my screen for a split second and play these different albums that I've collected over the years. It just makes things so much easier to navigate on the touchscreen itself, especially for safety reasons, because safety is important, especially as a driver, and you want to control your own music. You just plug in your phone to the USB port. Even if you're going on a really long trail ride, it keeps your phone charged while you're riding around. And that's what I like about USB. It keeps my phone charged while I'm riding around on the trail. So, USB is definitely the way to go for me. So we have our different USB cords. We have our USB-C, USB-C. That's for our newer vehicles with the USB-C port, like my mom's Buick Envista and my dad's Chevy Colorado Trail Boss. Especially when I'm on the trail or when I'm getting ready to head to the trail, I plug this into my dad's Trail Boss and listen to our music or whatever while we're driving or traveling on the interstate to get to the trails, because we're coming right from Conway, and coming right from Conway, it takes a while. So we can listen to a lot of music to get us through on this road trip. Right outside Columbia and almost to Charlotte, North Carolina. So we're between South Carolina and North Carolina. So get all of our necessary cables, and of course USB C to regular USB. When I get into the side by side, I plug it into the USB port, go to USB/iPod, and I can select my first favorite album to listen to on the trail. Or I can put on a dedicated playlist and just have that shuffling and press the skip forward, skip back, and use it like an old school iPod. So, based on everything we've said in this episode so far, USB is good for convenience of staying safe on the trail because you're navigating everything on your touch screen. Everything is built in. Even if the side by side comes with Apple CarPlay, ooh, that is even much safer because you're using everything built in. Apple CarPlay, can't go wrong with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. But I guess even with older side by sides, you can get like a CarPlay screen that you can use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and connect that to Bluetooth, and it'll all be integrated into the touchscreen. But there's no need of having a second touchscreen with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. I guess that's one accessory you can do. So yeah, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto has become very. I guess I wouldn't use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto unless it was built in, because I can adapt to pretty much any built-in system, even if it has Apple CarPlay or not. Especially with the 7-inch, 7-button ride command system, I've learned how to navigate that. If I just plug my phone straight in before the ride, and all my music is controlled right from the touch screen, I don't have to worry about it. Next time I go riding around, I'm gonna try my Belkin cable and see if that does the trick. But I do like how I can easily put my phone into the compartment, plug it up to the USB port. I don't even have to touch it again because everything's controlled on the radio. And yeah, everything's on the radio. I can select an artist, an album, a track. I mean, if I wanted to, I can select from Apple Music or my own library and put the phone away because I don't have to touch it again, especially when I'm riding around. So yeah, USB for me has been the best in terms of integration, safety, sound quality, but Bluetooth does win in convenience and ease of use. But it definitely loses for safety and integration because the Bluetooth audio is kind of like what an aux cord is. It pretty much transfers the sound from your phone into the system, no matter what system it is. You pretty much have to control everything from your phone, which is unsafe for driving. And bringing your phone over here or right over here, it's not safe for driving. So you have to have both hands on the wheel and eyes on the trail. And if you're on your phone, you could be running off the cliff or something or whatever. So it's always good to use USB because all your albums and your artists are right there. Don't have to worry about picking another album for a while. And hopefully, with a new um, update, if they ever come out with a new update, then everything's going to be all fixed up in terms of compilation albums. But, it's fine. I can deal with it. So, one thing I hate about Bluetooth is it drains my battery like big time. So, with Bluetooth, yeah, it could drain your battery, but at the same time, you have to plug into a 12-volt power outlet just to keep it charged while you're on the trail. Even I guess no matter where you put your phone, in the side by side, it's going to get hot because if you put it in an under radio cubby, that little storage cubby, it's going to get hot anyway. Even inside the compartment, it's going to get hot. That's another thing is that the music will continue to play and transfer the data to the USB cord into the system, and we don't have to worry about it over. I guess it will overheat. So, and I guess USB is good for some people, and Bluetooth is good for other people as well. So it's kind of like a half and half thing where I guess it doesn't really matter if you use USB or Bluetooth. Bluetooth did save the day when I was having trouble with my own personal library from my CD collection, from my iTunes purchases. Bluetooth did save the day. But at the same time, I was missing out on the versatility and all that stuff of having my Apple Music library in the radio and selecting from any album I wanted to, go to a specific album from a specific artist and select it from there. Because everything is in a menu system. I do like having a built in menu on the ride command system when you're connected to USB. Even you can use it as an aux cord, like picking a playlist. I guess everything else has to be selected on the phone, like a playlist. So let's say I go to the trails at Christmas time. I can select a Christmas album. If I listen to a Christmas album, I could type in Christmas. I go to a playlist. I can select my Christmas playlist and press shuffle. And that's all of my go to Christmas. Oh no. Sounds really good. I mean, I'll have 13 hours and 39 minutes for Christmas music traveling on the. That's pretty cool. You have a lot of Christmas music jamming out. But I did make a Christmas or country Christmas playlist, which is 5 hours and 22 minutes. Off road Christmas hits all clean. 35 hours and 29 minutes. I guess everything from rock and country music for Christmas music. I can press shuffle. Not bad, not bad at all. So I got plenty of Christmas playlists I can just press shuffle on. Have still connected be still connected to USB and still get that full sound quality. Where Bluetooth, I mean it's pretty good, but I don't know. Even with Bluetooth, I can easily stay safe while pressing the back and forward because I'm playing a whole playlist. But I guess it's whatever works best for you and your setup. A lot of you don't have to use just Bluetooth. You can swap, especially if you're an iPhone user. You can use your phone like an old school iPod. If you still collect CDs, dust them, kind of dust them off, put them into your disk drive, archive them, and upload them to the cloud. So yeah, even with some of my CDs, I can rip them to the computer, which I've already done, and I can sync everything to the cloud, and everything gets put into the USB cable, or it transfers through the USB cord, mirroring my Apple Music library, like I would with a normal iPod, with an old school iPod. It thinks, especially with connected to cell service or Wi-Fi, if it shows up, it thinks it's downloaded locally. I just think that's really cool. I'm gonna remove YouTube Music. We're gonna manage the subscription. Well, guys, this will be the last time you see me in these glasses because I'm gonna get some new ones in August or September. Yeah, I'm getting ready to go to Mount Pleasant on the 19th of August. Cancel subscription. We'll cancel the subscription. Here we go. So I am done with YouTube Music. I don't really need it much anymore. Give me one last music app to worry about. But, I mean, even with the USB port in the Razer, it'll still mirror any third party application. And Bluetooth, I guess I can switch over to Bluetooth if I want. If someone else is driving, like if we go on a trail ride, and I'm in the passenger seat or in the back seat, I can use my phone to control the music, and swap over to USB when it comes my turn. So both can be used evenly depending on where I sit. I guess here's how I'm going to use both. When it comes to both USB and Bluetooth, I'll use USB when I'm, on the trail, or if I'm riding around, in the yard, and I can use Bluetooth if, especially when the state law of making side by side street legal, I'll use Bluetooth to control my music since I'm not going to be the one driving, and I won't have that advantage to plug my phone directly into the USB port and control everything on the touchscreen. It'd be a lot easier just to use my phone and control everything right from the phone itself. So in November, we're going to be already in the Christmas season, so we can stream Christmas music right from my phone into my Polaris Ride Command, which is great. So yeah, my Polaris Razor. I will be using USB when I drive, like around the yard or on the trail. And when the street legal law goes into effect in November, we'll use Bluetooth to play my music directly from my phone into the Ride Command. So that way I can have, control over my music. I don't have to worry about touching the menu button and go to an album or an artist. So I do have that versatility whether I want to use Bluetooth or I want to use USB. I have that option, which I'm actually going to use both and not choose one over the other. just because it's, there. And my phone is still paired up to Bluetooth audio, and I can still use the USB cable for, yeah, I'll continue to use USB because I still have to control my phone anyway, because it's right there on the driver's side where the USB port is. Open up the compartment, select a playlist while it's still connected to USB. Press shuffle, close it up, and continue to go ride. But Bluetooth is if I'm going to be a passenger, and I can control my own music without having to worry about, you know, going over to my phone, and yeah, it just makes it so confusing. But that's just something to keep in mind for whenever. And this is actually, yeah, this episode for you guys is actually for what was supposed to be for Saturday on July 4th. But seeing that I'm going to be working on July 4th and working tomorrow, I got to get this, episode out to you guys as soon as I can. And we will be back on Saturday to do another episode of the Off Road Campground podcast. Not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, we'll do another episode of the Off Road Campground podcast. And we'll talk about, I don't know what we're talking about. But we'll think of something based on experiences. Yeah, we'll see. But, if you enjoy this episode, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when a new video goes live or a new episode of the Off-Road Campground podcast goes live. Because let me know. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Now it's a good way of supporting me as a YouTuber. And supporting the channel so I can do some more content for you guys. Because I really do want to do some more side-by-side content with my Polaris RZR XP 41000. And maybe even next year, we might do some videos with my cousin Briella. That'd be cool. I So yeah, I definitely want to do some more side by side related content for you guys. Maybe do a video with my cousin Briella, because I might be doing. I definitely want to get a um, booster seat for my cousin Briella, so we can go riding together in the RZR, and we can go riding around, in my yard in the RZR, listen to Disney music or whatever music she wants to listen to. Because she'll be 2 next year, and she's right at that time where she'll appreciate my side by side more. I mean, I got this when she was a little teeny thing. So she was a little over, let's see, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. About a little over 8 months old. She just turned 8 months old on the 15th of October when I got the side by side. Let's go to 2025. So, yeah. So, that Wednesday, that's when I got my Polaris Razor, October 16th, and that previous day, that's when she turned 8 months old, and now with her being almost two, come February of next year, she'll be able to appreciate the side by side more, and the way I connect my phone should be the easiest way, the easiest thing to pick out when I'm the driver and she's the passenger. So we'll probably use USB and select a specific album from a specific artist, or select my cousin Briella's Razor playlist and have that shuffled, and just having everything together. So we'll use a mixture of both Bluetooth and USB, so that way I can get the best out of my ride command, whether it's through Bluetooth audio or through USB/iPod. So at least I got both. I got both my phone connected to and paired to Bluetooth, where I can plug in a USB cord directly into the USB port with no issues whatsoever. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Off Road Campground Podcast and finding the best connection for your side by side, for your machine. I mean, I would go with both, especially if you're an iPhone user. I would go both. But if you're an Android user, then yeah, I would lean towards more Bluetooth over USB, unless you come up with a more advanced way of enabling USB tethering on an Android phone. iPhones have native USB tethering because it reads it as an iPod, an old school iPod from way, way back. And it reads it like the first ever iPhones did, when they had an iPod feature and it was able to connect directly to the radio without having to worry about a single thing. So yeah, I do have that. Um, yeah, I actually do have that. I wonder if I go by track, it would select my first track, and I can easily, scroll and listen to all of my songs. Ooh, that'd be perfect. Have an ultimate set list of all of my music, regardless of genre, artist, album, or anything. I mean, that's perfect. Even though I won't be able to, to download every single song, especially if I decide to go offline. I mean, I guess that's where the um, downloading a playlist will come in handy, and pressing the shuffle button on that playlist if I decide to go offline. But if I'm online, with cell service, then yeah, I can play through my entire CD collection on one trail ride. I don't even have to worry about touching it. I mean, talk about convenience for online trail riding, where I got cell service even though it'll be weak, I'll still have it active on the trail or in an off-road park like Carolina Adventure World. It's, I've never had a single issue with losing connection on my phone when I'm trail riding. But with that said, we hope you guys enjoyed it and hope you guys found this useful and have thought about trying out USB over Bluetooth, because I know most of you choose Bluetooth over USB, but it's time to give USB a chance because USB is still one of the best in terms of sound quality, you know, ease of navigation. It's more integrated, has a better data connection between my phone or the phone and uh, the ride command or whatever system you're using. But you do have to use what is best for you and your setup when it comes to the infotainment screen or your sound system. You gotta use what's best for you and your sound system. And what you have access to, whether it's just Bluetooth or both USB and Bluetooth. So if you guys enjoyed it, we'll see you guys very, very soon. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified when I do another episode or when I go and do another video. Peace.